Hello dear students, myself CMA Padmaja Buzruk. I will discuss auditing. Go to study note number 7, provision relating to audit under Companies Act. I will discuss auditor's report on revised accounts. Sometimes after getting the audit report from the auditors, and if auditor has asked to make some changes, if the report is qualified, then the company management amends the audited accounts, that is make changes in the audited accounts. The board of directors reapproves it, and then they request the statutory auditor to make report once again on the amended accounts. Then the duties of the auditors in these regards are he should ensure that all the original copies of accounts, that is original financial statements, profit and loss account and balance sheet and original audit report are returned to the auditor. He should ensure that the fact that the accounts have been revised or revision of accounts have been disclosed by the management as a specific note on the amended accounts. Reporting requirement are as under adequate disclosure. If the statutory auditor is satisfied that disclosure made by company in the notes on accounts is adequate, there is no further need for the auditor to refer to the revision of balance sheet and profit and loss account in his report. Inadequate disclosure: if the notes on the accounts do not contain any note on the revision, or if such note is not considered as adequately comprehensive by the auditor should refer to the fact of revision of accounts in his report. So, if the accounts are amended, it is necessary that these are amended accounts should be written in the notes on the accounts. If it is disclosed by management and if auditor is satisfied with this, if disclosure is adequate, then auditor need not refer this in his audit report. But if auditor is not satisfied with this, if this information is not disclosed properly in the notes to the accounts, then the auditor should refer the fact of revision of account in his reports. The above principles are also applicable to the audit of government companies. Qualified report: where past accounts have been reopened or revised on technical grounds. Technical grounds means if it is required by taxation authorities. And the company has asked the auditor to give his report under section 143 on the revised accounts. He should issue a qualified report only. So when the accounts are reopened and auditor has been asked to give revised report, then it is always should be a qualified audit report. The report should indicate that the company has reopened the accounts contrary to the opinion of ICAI. ICAI does not allow to reopen the accounts when it has been adopted by AGM, but if it is reopened on technical grounds, the report should indicate the fact. Revision of the audit report: revision of the financial statement. The auditor should issue a fresh report on the revised financial statements in accordance with guidance note on auditor report on revised accounts of companies before circulation to shareholders and guidance note on revision rectification of financial statements. So auditor should issue a fresh report on revised financial statements, and it is to be in accordance with guidance notes issued by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Situations: revision of audit report is required when the auditor considers that amendment in financial statement is not warranted, might not be changed as he wished, or when the auditor advises amendment to financial statement but management does not intend to revise them, or when the management agrees for revision in the financial statement but is unable to do so despite its bona fide intention, but management extends its cooperation to the auditor and agrees to ensure that anyone in receipt of these previously issued financial statement together with audit report thereon is informed of the situation and would be issued revised audit report. If management does not agree to amend the financial statements, and if the management agrees revision of financial statements but is unable to do so with its despite its bona fide intention, and it is ready to give its cooperation to the auditor, then in that case, those who have already received the previous financial statements and audit report should be informed about the situation, and a revised audit report should be issued. Auditor's duties in these regards are: issue a revised report in which he should refer to the earlier report and state the reasons for revising the report. Timing: for corporate entities, the audit report may be revised till the accounts are adopted at AGM. For entities where such adoption is not required, the auditor may consider revising the audit report within a reasonable time, but in any case not later than the issuance of audit report for immediately succeeding accounting period. So in case of corporate entities, the audit report may be revised till the accounts are adopted at AGM, but in other entities where adoption at AGM is not required, adoption of accounts at ADM is not required, then auditor may issue revised audit report within a reasonable time. Appropriate disclosures are to be made in the financial statements of the immediately succeeding accounting period. Preventing reliance on earlier report: if the management neither agrees to revise the financial statement nor agrees to circulate the proposed revised audit report to the recipient of the earlier report, the auditor should notify the person ultimately responsible for the overall direction of the entity that the action will be taken by him to prevent reliance on the audit report. So if the management does not agree to revise the financial statements or circulate the proposed revised audit report to the shareholders who have received earlier report, then in that case auditor will notify, inform to the responsible authority that action will be taken by him to prevent reliance on the audit report. The auditor may take the following steps. In this regard, notify the client that the audit report must no longer be associated with financial statements. He will notify to the client that whatever audit report he has earlier issued is no longer associated with the profit and loss account and balance sheet, and notify the regulatory agencies, that is Registrar of Companies, Income Tax Department, SEBI, RBI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. To all these regulatory agencies also he will notify that audit report should not be relied upon. Make an appropriate statement at the AGM if requested by chairman. Withdrawal from engagement: when the management neither agrees to revise the financial statement nor agrees to ensure that anyone in receipt of previously issued financial statements and audit report thereon will be informed of the situation and would be issued a revised audit report, the auditor may conclude that withdrawal from the further engagement with the entity is necessary. So that means auditor may discontinue his engagement with the client, that is he will not accept to work as auditor from the next financial year. Signature: where a firm is the auditor, the partner who signed the original audit report should also sign the revised report or the letter indicating preventing reliance on audit report, as the case may be. In case of signing by any other partner, the reason thereof should be stated. In case of partnership firm, if the partner who has signed the original audit report should only sign the revised audit report or letter indicating the preventing reliance on the earlier audit report. If any other partner has signed, it is necessary to give the reasons. Now we'll see audit of abridged financial statements. Abridged financial statements are condensed or summarized financial statements. It includes the entire period, but details are not given, only summarized information is given. The auditor should examine whether the requirement relating to abridged balance sheet and abridged profit and loss account as laid down in section 136 have been duly complied with. Auditor should check whether these financial statements have been drawn up as per requirements of the Act, section 136 of Companies Act 2013. Subsequent events: if the audit report on abridged financial statement is issued on a date subsequent to the issuance of audit report on annual accounts as per Schedule 3, that is audit report on annual accounts have been given by the same auditor, and after that audit report on abridged financial statement is given, then the auditor's responsibility in relation to events occurring after the balance sheet date is limited to the events occurring up to the date of his report on annual accounts. Unqualified report: if the auditor is satisfied that abridged financial statements are proper in all respects, he should issue unqualified audit report. Qualified report: the auditor should express a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion as appropriate if he has certain reservations about abridged financial statements. For example, if a material piece of information has not been disclosed in the abridged financial statements or has been disclosed in an inappropriate manner. If auditor is satisfied about abridged financial statements, then he will give unqualified audit report. But if he is not satisfied, then he should express qualified opinion or adverse opinion. If material piece of information has not been disclosed or inappropriately disclosed, then he should qualify his report. Provision for proposed dividend: when a company does not provide for an amount of proposed dividend, the attention of shareholders should be drawn to the fact that no appropriation has been made. The fact that provision for proposed dividend has not been made should be disclosed by means of note in the accounts. The auditor should refer to the note in the report and make his report subject thereto. So if provision for proposed dividend is not made and the fact is disclosed by means of notes in the accounts, in that case also auditor should qualify his report. Now we'll see accounts of liquidator report under section 348 of Companies Act 2013. When company is winding up, gets liquidated, wants to close its businesses, it appoint a liquidator whose job is to sell off the assets and pay off liabilities. Now he is supposed to maintain proper records for this, and it needs to be audited, and report is to be submitted under section 348. Skills: the professional skill and audit procedures to be applied for an audit under section 348 are similar to that used during a normal audit of a company. Similar audit procedures and skills are required for audit under section 348. Which skills and procedures are required during the normal audit of a company? Report: there should be a fair measure of uniformity in the report submitted by auditors conducting an audit under section 348 of Companies Act. The report may be on the following lines: whether he has obtained all information and explanation which to the best of his knowledge and belief were necessary for the purpose of his audit, whether in his opinion proper books of accounts as required by Companies Act 2013 and Companies Court Rules 1959 have been kept by the liquidator so far as appears from his examination of books, whether the liquidator's accounts relating to realizations and disbursement is in agreement with books and records produced before him. So his reports should indicate whether he has obtained information and explanation which was necessary for the purpose of his audit, whether in his opinion proper books of accounts as required by Companies Act and Companies Court Rules have been kept by liquidator, and whether liquidator's account relating to realization, that is amount received by sale of assets, and disbursement, that is payment of liabilities, are in agreement with books and records produced before him. The auditor's report may be on the following lines: whether in his opinion and to the best of his information and according to the explanations given to him, the liquidator's account including annexures give information required by Companies Act 2013 and Companies Court Rules 1959 in the manner so required and give a true and correct view of realization and disbursement of liquidator. Chartered accountant as a liquidator. When chartered accountant acts as a liquidator, the statement of accounts to be filed under Section 348 of Companies Act 2013 shall be audited by a qualified chartered accountant other than liquidator chartered accountant. So liquidator cannot act as auditor of the liquidating company. Now we'll see audit of consolidated financial statements. Parent company, that is holding company, has following responsibilities: identifying components, that is joint ventures, associates, subsidiaries, etc., and including the financial information of the component to be included in the consolidated financial statements, identifying reportable segment for segmental reporting, identifying related parties and related party transactions for reporting, obtaining accurate and complete financial information from components, that is joint ventures, associates, subsidiaries, etc., and making appropriate consolidation adjustments. It is necessary for holding company to club financial statements of subsidiaries, associates, joint venture along with its own financial statements, and this is known as consolidation of financial statements. Objective of audit of consolidated financial statement: to satisfy that the consolidated financial statements have been prepared as per requirements of Ind AS 27, Ind AS 28 and Ind AS 31. Ind AS 27 is on separate and consolidated financial statements. Ind AS 28 is on investment in associates and joint ventures. And Ind AS 31 is on interest in joint venture and associates. To enable the auditor to express an opinion on the true and fair view presented by consolidated financial statements. The objective of audit of consolidated financial statement is to check whether requirements of Ind AS 27, 28 and 31 have been followed, and to enable the auditor to express his opinion about truthness and fairness of consolidated financial statements. Features of consolidated financial statements. Consolidated financial statements are prepared using separate financial statements of parent, subsidiary, associate and joint venture, and also other financial information which might not be covered by separate financial statement of these entities. So for preparation of consolidated financial statements, separate financial statements of parents, subsidiary, associates, joint ventures are used, as well as other financial statements are also used. Other financial information is also used, which might not be covered by separate financial statements. The other financial information would include disclosure to be made in consolidated financial statements about subsidiaries, associates and joint ventures, proportion of items included in consolidated financial statements to which different accounting policies have been applied, adjustment made for the effect of significant transactions or other effects that occur between the financial statements of subsidiaries, associates and joint venture and parents, as the case may be. So other financial information is nothing but disclosure made in the consolidated financial statements about subsidiaries, associates and joint ventures. Sometimes different accounting policies are followed by subsidiaries, associates, joint venture and holding companies. It needs some adjustments are to be made and disclosure is to be made about the same. The auditor of consolidated financial statement has to use the work of other auditors, that is the auditor of financial statement of components as required under SA 600, that is Standards on Auditing 600. Verification procedure. Auditors duties as regards various aspects we'll see. As regards completeness, the auditor's duties are: he has to ensure that all relevant subsidiaries, associates, joint ventures have been included. So he has to check whether all the subsidiaries, associates and joint ventures have been included in preparation of consolidated financial statements. For that he has to check the working papers of prior years. Parent's procedure for identification of subsidiary associates and joint venture, investment made to determine shareholding in other entities, joint ventures and other relevant agreement entered into by parent, statutory record maintained by parent, for example, registered under section 190 and 186. Section 190 is contract of employment with managing or whole-time director, 186 loans and investments by company. So auditor has to check that whether all the subsidiaries, associates and joint ventures have been included. With respect to prior year's working paper, if some of them are excluded, he should examine the reason for exclusion. If it is argued that the reason for exclusion from consolidation is that the relationship of entity with parent is temporary, the auditor should examine whether the parent had the intention to dispose of its interest at the time of making the investment. So if any of the subsidiary or associate is excluded on the reason of temporary relationship, auditor should find out whether the shares in that particular subsidiary or associate have been disposed of. Control. Since now in regards control aspect, what are the auditor's duties? Since control of the composition of board of director, governing body of an enterprise also results in parent subsidiary relationship, the auditor should examine the minutes of board meeting, shareholders agreement with entities to which technology or know-how might have been provided. If technology know-how has been provided by holding company to subsidiary company, auditor should check it with minutes of board meeting. As regard other aspects, the auditor should examine the relevant law and agreement to identify long-term restrictions prohibiting transfer of funds, review whether the procedures and disclosure requirement laid down by relevant accounting standards have been followed in preparing consolidated financial statements, verify that the gross amount of goodwill and capital reserve have also been disclosed. If such goodwill arising in respect of one subsidiary is set off against capital reserve arising in respect of another. If the number of shares acquired or percentage of shares acquired by holding company from subsidiary company is more than 50% and the price paid is more than the book value, then it results in goodwill, otherwise capital reserve. If one subsidiary's goodwill is set off against another subsidiary's capital reserve, auditor should verify the gross amount of goodwill and capital reserve and he should check whether it has been separately disclosed. See whether any impairment loss exists in respect of goodwill arising on consolidation. Parent consolidation adjustment, the auditor should see whether the following adjustments have been made appropriately: capital reserve and goodwill, determination of excess or deficit of cost of to the parent of its investment in subsidiary over the parent's portion of equity of the subsidiary at the date on which investment in subsidiary is made. So it is necessary to determine goodwill and capital reserve. Auditor should check whether it is correctly arrived at or not. If price paid for shares acquired is more than the book value, then it is known as goodwill, otherwise capital reserve. Minority interest. In case of holding company, if it acquires more than 50% shares in subsidiary companies, then the remaining shareholding is known as minority interest. Determination of amount of equity attributable to minorities at the date on which investment in subsidiary is made. So it is necessary to find out the minority interest. Associates, determination of goodwill or capital reserve arising on application of equity method to account for investment in associates in consolidated financial statements. So in case of associates also, it is necessary to find out goodwill or capital reserve on application of equity method. Equity method is an accounting technique used by firms to assess the profit earned by their investment in other company. The firm reports the income earned on investment in its income statement and the reported value is based on firm's share of company assets. Other verification, the auditor should review the memorandum records to verify the adjustment entries made in preparation of consolidated financial statements. Intra-group interest paid and received and management fees. The auditor should check adjustments made as regards intra-group interest paid or received. Supposing if holding company has given loan to subsidiary company is supposed to pay interest, holding company will receive interest. This is intra-group interest paid and received. Auditor should check the adjustments made for this. Unrealized intra-group profit on assets acquired from other subsidiaries. If any finished goods are sold by holding company to subsidiary company and subsidiary company's stock includes those finished goods at invoice price, then at the time of consolidation, the profit in these finished goods is known as unrealized profit. Intra-group indebtedness, if there is a transaction of sale between holding company and subsidiary company on the basis of credit, that is credit sales transactions, then from one company's viewpoint it is debtor, from another company's viewpoint it is creditor, it is known as intra group indebtedness. Auditor should verify the adjustment entries regarding the same. Adjustment related to harmonizing the different accounting policies being followed by parent, enterprise and subsidiaries. If different accounting policies are followed by subsidiary and holding company like depreciation method, valuation of stock, auditor should check the adjustments. Adjustment made for the effect of significant transaction or other events that occur between the date of the financial statement of the parent and one or more of the components if the financial statements to be used for consolidation are not drawn up to the same reporting date. That means supposing the balance sheet date, reporting period, reporting date of for make for holding company and subsidiary company is not same, it is different. That means accounting year followed by subsidiary company and holding company is not same. Reporting date, balance sheet date of holding company and subsidiary company is not same. Then some adjustments are to be made and auditor should check those adjustments. Determination of movement in equity attributable to minorities since the date of acquisition of subsidiary. Supposing if 55% share capital in the subsidiary company is acquired by holding company and after few months they have acquired 10% more shares. So at the time when they acquired 55%, minority interest was 45%. If their shareholding increases, minority interest decreases. So that is to be checked by audit. In this particular video, we have seen auditors report on revised accounts, audit of abridged financial statements, report under section 348 of Companies Act 2013 and audit of consolidated financial statements. Thank you.